I just wanted to take this opportunity to tell you how much I appreciate your support for all that we do at Natural News and the Heath Ranger store and the heathrangerreport.com, which is the podcast website. You know, it's astonishing, really. We are pushing the, I don't know, the socially acceptable boundaries of, public conversation or debate. I mean, we are not politically correct. And when I say we, I mean my whole operation, we refuse to conform to the obedience demands of, mostly the political left, but also just the status quo science, for example. We refuse to bow down to their pseudoscience and their quack science, and we insist on exploring real science and real medicine and what really makes people healthy, real nutrition, all these things. And we couldn't do it without you and your support, so it's greatly appreciated. And it's also fascinating that there are 300 plus million Americans and probably over 1 billion English speaking people around the world, let's say, in various countries. And yet, out of those 1 billion people, a very tiny percentage of those people is interested in health. Even though everybody has a body, right? Everybody has a heart and brain and all these organs that need to be supported. Everybody has an immune system and so on, but a very small fraction of the total are interested in health. And then from that, there's a very small fraction that are open to ideas that we have at Natural News, ideas which are so pioneering and so far advanced compared to the mainstream that it often takes the mainstream media and mainstream science a decade to catch up to the things that we report. For example, we were warning about the dangers of trans fats when the food industry was saying, oh, it's perfectly safe, and the FDA was saying, it's perfectly safe, blah, blah, blah. Well, fast forward, 10 years, and the FDA bans trans fats. Why? Because they increase the risks of cancer and heart disease and diabetes. Well, duh, we told you that, back in 2005 or whatever it was. So we're so far ahead. And frankly, not everybody out there is comfortable being ahead of the curve. Most people, when it comes down to it, most people don't want to be ahead of the curve. They don't want to stand out. Most people want to fit in. And if you have that choice between standing out and fitting in, it takes a very special kind of person to want to stand out versus the easy path of just fitting in. Anybody can fit in. It takes no effort whatsoever. You don't even have to think. All you got to do is swallow whatever narrative is being pushed out there and repeat it as if it's your own. Anybody can fit in. But standing out, that's a big deal. That means you have to think for yourself. You got to be a critical thinker. You have to have some courage to challenge the status quo. And that's what you are. And that's what I am. And that's what we do. And we reach, I don't know, in a year, maybe 10, 20 million people. I don't know the exact number at this point. It's getting to be a bigger and bigger number. But it's a fraction of the global population. And it will never be mainstream. We will never be as popular as, some stupid cooking show on Netflix because people don't want to have to think often. They just want to, look at the donuts, and they just want to eat. It's easy to eat. Everybody can eat. Everybody can eat and have sex and drink beer, whatever, or just pay attention to celebrity news. That's easy. It doesn't take any brains, doesn't take any spine, doesn't take even a spiritual awareness to do those things. What's hard is to do something that matters with your life, to rise above mediocrity and stand out and think for yourself and challenge the falsehoods that you see in society around you. And there's so many of them, it's hard to know where to begin, isn't it? What do you challenge the broken public education system, the broken public taxation system, the broken political system, the broken financial system, the broken scientific quack science quo. Where do you even begin to challenge the systems out there? I don't know. I don't have that answer for you. I'm just saying there's so much misinformation from the mainstream that it's hard for some people to even think about questioning it. And yet, you are able to do that. There's something unique about you. There's something special about who you are. Well, you've got that, I don't know what that is inside your head that just says, you know what, I don't quite believe what CNN is telling me about statin drugs being healthy. You've got that something, that spirit, that sense that is this eternal question, or as they say in the Matrix, a splinter in your mind that telling you something's not quite right with the world around you. You know, you're living in a Truman Show. You're living in a Matrix. And to get out of it, because it's a mental prison, you have to change your mind, or at least expand your mind to have a greater understanding of things. That's the kind of person you are. Otherwise, you wouldn't even be listening to this. And that's the kind of person I am. In fact, I'm so dedicated to that I've put my life at risk to bring you this information. You know, I've talked about the death threats before, and the stalking, and the efforts to, you know, destroy my reputation and so on, and spread false rumors and things like that. It's just totally false, total bogus nonsense out there, but that's what happens when you start questioning the status quo. It's part of the system that we are bringing down. We, you and me, and others like us, we're bringing down the system. Every time we question the status quo, every time we publish the truth about what's really in vaccines, every time we look at the pesticides that are in breakfast cereals, let's say, or we publish a scientific paper about how pesticide exposure causes Alzheimer's and dementia. Every time we do this, we are cracking through the wall of the Truman Show. You know, the giant dome that was over that studio in that movie, The Truman Show, starring Jim Carrey. We're like taking a hatchet to the wall of that and shattering it so that we can now see the light of the real world beyond the dome. And that's just a metaphor for what's actually happening with your mind. You've been made a mental prisoner by the establishment, by the fake science that's pushed as mainstream science, or the fake medicine that's pushed as, oh, a treatment, another pharmaceutical, here, take number 16. Like as if 15 drugs every day wasn't enough. Now you need a 16th prescription. You know, we're breaking through all that. We're waking people up with nutrition, waking people up with real science, waking people up with real truth about what's going on in the world. And it is, you know, the establishment is terrified. The establishment has always thrived on keeping you disconnected from facts and keeping you in the dark about what's actually happening to you. And the idea that someone like us could come along and help people see the deeper truth of what's happening in the world around them, that freaks out the globalists. You know, the establishment just goes nuts, especially on the issue of vaccines, by the way. Establishment goes totally nuts. So that's the battle that you are witnessing right now. It's an epic spiritual war, really, when you get down to it. And I'm fighting this war on the behalf of humanity, and you're fighting this war too in your own way, maybe in your own household or your own family, perhaps, or your own community, or just in your own life. So we're both fighting against, you know, deception and dishonesty and the systems of totalitarian control that the globalists have put in place to keep you down and to keep you malnourished and to keep you sick and diseased and addicted to toxic pharmaceuticals and to alter your brain chemistry with psychotropic drugs. All of this is by design. And we help set you free against all of that. And that's why what we do is so incredibly popular with a very tiny fraction of the people of the planet that actually are interested in this journey. And again, I admit, we are never going to be mainstream. We're only going to be able to reach a very tiny fraction of the people because, again, thinking for yourself requires courage and effort, and it's not something that everybody feels comfortable doing. It's not the easiest path. If you want an easy path, you can turn on CNN, you can watch Disney movies, you can eat drive-through junk food. That's easy. Everybody does that. You can go to the doctor, take your damn Tamiflu, get a vaccine shot, do everything you're told. That's easy. But to question what you're told, that is difficult. And that's what we do here at Natural News. And that's what I do as the Health Ranger. And so I thank you for your support. You can hear more podcasts at healthrangerreport.com. If you choose to support us economically, to support our mission, just go to healthrangerstore.com. Over 600 products there, all lab tested, green living, nutrition, natural health, dietary supplements, much more, even some survival tools, by the way, and survival food, storable, long-term organic, storable food. Great stuff there. You're going to love it. So thank you for your support. Take care.
Learn more at healthrangerreport.com.